Hello, everybody, and welcome to DM Writer's Room, a show where we demystify the DMing process by coming up with monsters, magic items, and settings live. And in this one, I forgot to start the music before we got started. So, Spencer, if you could pop on in.
Don't worry
and do
about
that.
that.
blunder.
I'm on it.
Now, I have a question. If I forget to do that 85% of the time, at what point at what point should I only say when I do remember?
As soon as I remember that it's a thing as well, which is not gonna happen. It's just gotta be one of us remembers.
I mean, I guess I appreciate that.
So
So,
when
go ahead.
on our 85th episode,
There you go.
85.
We're well past episode 85.
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
we're,
I'm curious.
We're definitely
I
at like
think-
100 now.
I think we're at like episode 130. Give or take, maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less, but I think that's like the zone of where we are, somewhere in there. So for those of you who don't know, we started into Swamp. This is an idea that Spencer pitched in a previous episode, and we decided we simply had to return to. We flushed out to Swamp, and we learned some things about the wider world that the swamp occupies. What did we learn? We learned that there are many gods, that they are attached to the regional land that they are in, and that they do not go beyond its borders. So the god of blood of some distant town will not be the same god of blood as high up in the mountains, right? They're going to be different. We also decided that we wanted to keep things pretty damn fantasy. We don't like these watered down fantasy settings that have become all too common. We wanted something where it is weird, including having a bird species, having like a anthropomorphic bird species who just find their eggs out in the swamp because they are laid by a great heron that lays eggs that will hatch into these sort of anthropomorphic birdmen. From there, we went to the mountains, basing it on a little bit of lore that we had learned while coming up with the first part, which is that one of our main NPCs, a nefarious and vile tree-felling villain, was a son that had failed to overtake a kingdom. So, following that up the way, we found ourselves in the mountains. This mountain group, we had decided, is a part of a post-sundering empire. So there was an empire of giants that had been sundered, and that this was one of the sort of outposts, and in fact had been built proximate, but not on top of, the capital of that once extant, but now destroyed giant keep, capital, and whatnot. There are three major gods here, the god of the king, the mage, and the arms, and each of them is represented in the government by the three sons of whoever the monarch is. The first becomes king, the second becomes the mage, and the third becomes the marshal. We came up with three major settings. The first, three major locations outside of the capital. The first being a massive port, one of the only places where the water is deep enough for you to be able to go out into open ocean, making it a unique and special port in this place.
The ocean.
There you go. The second, the
big
land of
water.
arms, is far to the north, and it is a place where the giants. It is to the east, and it is a place where the giants' descendants live. Basically, probably some version of a Goliath, or maybe just full giants. And it is a massive lift that can allow ships to go up into the area. Basically, it's like a canal that is powered by these massive giants that have volunteered their service and crank these giant wheels to raise ships up higher so that mules, donkeys, and whatever can drag them upriver higher and higher, which is part of why the capital is so very wealthy. And then finally, the city dedicated to the mage, which is built at the mouth, at the entrance to the previous giant capital, and brave and foolish folk go out into the capital to recover artifacts and bring them back to sell to the highest bidder. Following the attempted coup by this other kid, the sons left remaining had begun to get a little bit warlike, to begin to expand. The fractured nature of their government had apparently made them somewhat bloodthirsty. They are all between 25 and 12, and they continue to forge out, not so willing to give up their potential kingdoms, and now seeing a potential to maybe go even further beyond. But now it's time for us to move on. We had decided that was enough, and today we're going to the north. We are headed. Go ahead. Pop off.
Are you ever intimidated by the storytelling we did on the last one? Coming into the next one?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
There's some parts in Prospect. When we were building Prospect, there were some moments where I was like, great, we're going to do something after coming up with the Emerald Spire? Fun. Great. There's a mean guy over here. Yeah, it's always a little... I think about it mainly when you start DMing a new thing after you finish. It is such a whiplash to go from like level 20 2-year built-in play to like, my name's Ponsible, and to like fully stoop back down. It is definitely an exciting and interesting thing, but certainly a little bit nerve-wracking. So we don't know much about the north. One of the only things we know is that somewhere here there is a glacier that is ever expanding, not necessarily doing what glaciers are supposed to do and just sort of grinding its way through the world. This is instead expanding out constantly, and that there is a town built at its feet that carves off the ice and sells it in an effort to both make money and to save their town, to keep their town from being destroyed by this ever encroaching ice. That's the only thing we know. Oh, we also, one more little item that we decided for some reason to just sort of pepper in to the mountains episode, which is that these many gods are all the uncountable faces of a great and eternal god that shatters itself every 1,000 years or so that it can experience life anew. And the world is completely reborn after each shattering, and liches in this world are those beings crazed enough to survive the transition, to sequester themselves off in impregnable fortresses and burrow their way into the next age, finding it so alien, so antithetical to themselves that they, like beholders in Dungeons and Dragons, cannot help but destroy as they interact. Huge swing!
See what I mean?
I love it. It's great. Definitely a big swing. I mean, a big swing for sure. That's a given.
So I need to put this out there right away. In the north, with the ever-expanding glacier, is it a big old dragon? A big frost dragon that's just snorting out ice, making it bigger?
This sort of a slumbering ice dragon is pretty fun. I do think we're going to do something interesting. I feel like this is normally where you put your giant kingdom, but it's not. We have already placed that in the mountains to the like central south, because we know that the swamp is our real spicy part of the continent. So we know that is to the south of the mountains or above. We're going relatively far to the north because we need to get back up to Arctic. So we're going pretty far. Is there like a giant dragon sleeping in the ice? I don't know. That is really fun. My question would just be, is he in the ice, or is the mouth of his cave up the side of the mountain and his breathing? Because I love the idea maybe that it's like a truly ancient dragon that sleeps like 90% of its life. I kind of like maybe in this setting, dragons are like a little Cthulhu adjacent. Like they sleep for incredibly long periods of time, and when they wake up, they just tear shit up for a couple of probably months, like gorge themselves on food and then go back to sleep. I think is fun. The first thought I have is that maybe dragons in this world eat gold, and it just takes so long to digest that is why they slumber for like 100 years or something. So maybe this glacier, the mouth of that cavern is up at the top, and it constantly breathes down. The other option is that dragons in this world are true elemental titans, and that this thing's presence creates this glacier that is its hoard. And maybe there's like stuff embedded in the glacier. If you were to travel to the northern end of it, its hoard is like melted and frozen in. That's some dumb stuff. What are we thinking?
Mike, what you got?
Yeah. Before we move on, I just want everyone to say hello to Zach the Somniac.
Hello, Zach.
You,
the
what up,
Somniac.
Zach?
Welcome,
Interesting.
welcome. He just wants to say hello.
So his Somniac, so Zach sleeps all the time.
You like to sleep.
So Zach's
He loves
snoozing. He's
sleeping.
not an insomniac.
I
My man's a
respect that.
somniac. He
I
loves
respect
it. He
that.
goes
He
crazy.
is the dragon.
There you go.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're
There
business
you go.
Zach. Now, I have to say, naming a dragon Somniac,
It was very
the
fun.
dragon that sleeps for hundreds of years, sick. Really badass. Okay. Ice Dragon, we're going with yes. That way we can move forward. I think that it would be interesting if we made the dragons akin to liches in the setting, wherein they are things that exist throughout recycling. Because this is going to be something
Okay.
that you encounter late game. And that way we can make dragons really funky.
They're like
If you wanted
ages
to.
old.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's in this massive glacier. It's impregnable, it's safe
And it-
throughout these.
What I like is it
transitions.
also smacks a bit of a classic fantasy trope and D&D trope, something that goes well outside of the wings of D&D, which is the thought that there is this like elemental chaos that precludes all existence. I kind of like the idea that the god can do what it will do, but the elements were always there, and
Yeah.
dragons are pure expressions of those elements. Is a pretty fun way to handle that.
It's really cool.
Two thoughts, and one is do we want to swing big and make a elemental dragon for each one to determine the like large differences in weather, temperature, all that, or do we want it to be like a titan of element for each one? Like this is the dragon titan, this is the whatever, I'd say titan, colossal, whatever.
I like the so basically is this Somniac, Lord of Ice and Snow, the grand archon of all frost in the world that, you know, survives through eternity, or is Somniac the white dragon sort of one of many? Am I understanding you correctly, or did I wander
That's-
off the path?
You're close to the mark. It's like, do we want a dragon for each element, or each like,
Or something different.
there's
So,
the
fire and
lava
ice.
plumes, and that is a dragon,
So
or
I'm-
it could be a giant of the lava plumes.
So I'm learning something kind of fun. So I think we have some choices. So number one, remember, we don't need to keep any of D20 Fantasy in here. So our giants don't need to be frost, stone, fire, and all of that. So my question is, so I think I'm going to return to my question because I think it interacts with Michael's very directly. Are there many dragons, or are there like 12? And there's, if we were to use the D&D parlance, there is one white dragon. There is one blue dragon. There is one red dragon. And they are eternal elementals that maybe think of themselves as lording over the world, right? It'd be kind of fun if, as far as they're concerned, the world is divided into 12 kingdoms, one for each of them, and they just let mortals do whatever because they're like, I don't know. What are the ants in your backyard doing? I don't know. Like they're
my
digging,
business.
they're doing a little thing back. They've got a little hill. I might have to do something about it. I haven't decided yet.
That's very fun.
100%. I think there's only like 12 dragons. Maybe
Okay.
not even that many.
How
Do
many
we wanna-
biomes do we want?
Yeah, let's
It's true.
let's take a moment and pin this down because this is what we did last
The
time.
swamp dragon.
And there we go. We do have a dragon of the swamp.
Is it
Yeah,
have
the
one? Are you making a
dragonfly.
Dragonfly?
Yeah, we have the grand dragonfly. So we do have a dragon that is aligned with. Okay, so I'm starting to get a little bit of a picture of this. So if I draw a little like elemental thing. So what are our key elements here? Are we trying to do like fire, earth, air, water? Or are we trying to, is ice its own element, or is ice a cousin to water?
Cousin. Because I would love a sea serpent dragon.
Now, we could go away from element and make them like biomatic.
Biome?
Yeah.
Oh,
there
so this
would
is the
be-
dragon of the Arctic?
Yeah, exactly. Dragon of the seas, dragon of the mountains. shit like that, instead of being earth, fire.
It's kind of, you know what I like about it is it makes probably the reason that Swamp is such a profoundly magical place. We had associated with all this other stuff. The answer probably to why Swamp is so massive is that the dragonfly lives there. The biome of swamp in its like purest and most primeval form is there. It makes me kind of want to say that maybe the dragon of the mountains is in our, maybe each of our locations that we've come up with is defined by one of these dragons being somewhere nearby. It doesn't need to be that way, but that's my first thought. So okay, cool. So if these are, Spencer, you hit us with biomatic. And I don't know if that's right, but I'm writing it down because it's fun. Okay, so let me get out first I'm gonna write out Arctic, and then I'm gonna hop in the sidebar here and I'm gonna look up our various biomes.
Arctic, temperate.
Yeah, I mean,
Rainforest dragon.
So let's just hit up like a little biome chart here. Okay. Oh wow. We really do have a lot of options. That's kind of fun. Okay. Oh, so cool. Okay, great. So Arctic, it seems like, is not as much... wow, there's a couple different ones we can choose from. So the first one I'm looking at has tundra. So this would be, the dragon of the tundra. If I look at... Oh, weird. Okay. So Arctic, so like the band is Arctic, subarctic, temperate, and tropical, and Arctic and tundra are alone, kind of at the top. It looks like. Oh, polar. Oh, so big question: is it the polar dragon? Is it the absolute top of the pyramid, like absolute coldest? In which case, we are north. We are way north. Like, are we in the Arctic Circle? And if you look behind us, you get to the other areas.
Now, I will put this out there. If we want to do a big fantasy swing, it doesn't need to be very far north. It can be a fairly small world where the dragon being there
is what makes it
the
polar.
Biome. So it's freezing 50 miles north of the desert. It is incredibly fucking cold right there.
Yeah.
And then, it still delineates that way, but that's why.
The other funny thing that we can work with,
we're
working on a globe. We don't have to be a globe. We could be flat
Earth.
Flat plane.
Another flat Earth.
We have a weird obsession with throwing some of those balls in there.
Well, if we make it a flat plane, the different, like, the order of where biomes are, it doesn't quite matter as much.
It makes the fantastical elements of a dragon controlling the weather make a bit more sense.
Okay, so I've got the big fancy list here. So we have ice cap, polar desert, tundra, polar wetlands, boreal forest, which bangs. Insane. And then there's like a million. Then there's temperate wet forest, temperate woodlands, steppe, desert, extreme desert is its own category. Okay, so we can play a little bit loose here. So then my question is, so I like those ideas. I'm not sold on on our world being the size of like a Matchbox car.
That's fair. I'm not looking to sell. I'm just saying it would make sense.
Counter offer. The whole plane is on a dragon.
No, we can't.
Dragon plane.
Can't do on the back of a dragon turtle. I think that's already been done.
Somewhere.
Yeah. I'm fine with keeping it a planet and having the North Pole be the cold spot, and the dragon having gravitated to that point, and the other dragons having gravitated, and their layers expanding out from there.
And I think
I'm just pitching it.
I think something we don't have to answer that I think is really fun is like, did the dragon go north because it's the coldest part of the planet, or is the coldest part of the planet north because that dragon's there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it, because if I think about it, Spencer, I think you're more right. I think you're right without needing to change anything. because so like swamps exist on a band of latitude. Like that's where they are. You need to be in a specific area for them to function. So I think that like wetlands in general are there because the relevant dragons live at that latitude. And it's like, well, wait, so does the dragon of the desert live there because it's a desert, or is the desert there because the dragon of the desert is there?
And the answer is yes.
And the answer is yeah. The answer is I can't
Functionally, it
separate
won't make
those
a
things out,
difference.
man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, they probably, if you deep dive into lore, they probably say the dragons came first, but nobody really knows.
If you kill one of the dragons, you're gonna find out. The layer's gonna change.
Okay, dragons carry climate and gravitate to it. I love that. So then my question returns. Is this the polar dragon, the tundra dragon, or the boreal dragon?
Big swing, we'll just do the polar dragon.
Polar dragon. So we are talking about, so where we are building right now is truly north. It's like as cold and freezing as you can get. We're like way up there. So my big question then, who the fuck lives here, dude? What are they doing up here? Why are they here? So if we're polar, that means that everything is dry and everything is cold except for the water. So it's like actively hostile to live here. The animals that live here are going to be extremely predatory because there's not going to be as much to eat. There's going to be very few animals, right? We're talking about like the polar caps. You're going to have like wandering predators and maybe some creatures that like burrow down to eat lichen and moss and things in the warmer seasons. Not by much. You know, it's going to mainly be creatures that like wander further south and come up through here. What are the people doing here?
I think that easy option number one, and we can add more stuff to this. This is where the species that thrive in the cold would be. So we're talking like air genasi, stuff like that. Like,
well,
things that
remember,
can sit up here and not care.
we're making a setting.
Yeah.
What is it? Like, what is it that's
cold
up here?
dudes.
Yeah, like, what is the cold? So what Spencer's just made canon. I love it. There are people here that live here that are adapted to the cold and would be uncomfortable other places. My first thought is it's straight up like the Yetins. Like it's Yeti folk, and they live here and have a full
we got Yeti
civilization,
towns.
and
Sure.
they're like up in the mix. My second thought, we're in a cold place. You already know that I'm like, but what if it's like Lovecraftian tentacle guys? Come on. But I think that might be a bit of a stretch. So like, okay, so we want there to be this a group that actually lives up here that are cold adapted. This is their homeland, and they probably, and this is a really cool element, they probably have never been invaded ever. They probably never really had to deal with much in the way of conflict, because how in the hell are you gonna get an army up here?
And why?
And why?
would
What do you
ever do
want?
it?
Like, there's nothing up here to want, even. It is endless, expansive ice and snow. Unless we want to make some kind of, like, Chardalyn equivalent. Like Chardalyn and Icewind Dale. Ice that is supposedly ice that has been frozen for so long that it has been made crystal. And is now, like, this brilliant, magical conduit that can be used for all kinds of nonsense.
I don't know. I like the idea of this. There needs to be something there for a party to go there at some point. But I like the idea that there's not really anything that kingdoms would be interested in.
Yeah,
This place
okay.
is owned by the Yeti folk, and it's going to keep being owned by the Yeti folk, because why wouldn't it be? But, you know, maybe there's got to be something. You know, a gift of the polar dragon you can utilize if you go there.
Okay.
The blade of the polar dragon.
So my first thought is, are there other planes of existence? Because maybe there is a portal to one of the planes here. Like at the mouth, at the mouth of the world, is there a great henge? And if you step through its gates, you wander into another corner of reality. Like you step outside into some strange place. Are there other planes? Are the other planes just the other planets of the solar system? Do you step through and you end up on Venus? You know, these are the questions I have.
I think if we start opening up some new planes, we're swinging too big for what we're trying to make.
We're gonna start drowning in our.
If we
setting.
did, then we would just say like, there's a plane there. Like, you know, it's associated with X. Like, if you actually read the older like players' handbooks, it's like it's the plane of law. Oh, what's there? The city of law. Is there anything else you know about that? No. All right, cool. So there
Modrons are from there.
Modrons are there. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, what's in Avernus? Flying fortresses. Is there any? What else? Like, I know, but like, talk to me about it. Like, what are the nations? No one knows. Like they do a lot of that kind of shit. It's like, I know that the great iron city of Dis is on that realm, but that's all I know. I got a pretty limited thing. Okay, so Michael's a little bit anti-portal to another realm. So what's here? Let's figure that out first. So why is an adventuring party going into the great Arctic North? And how dangerous is it? Like, is it climate dangerous? Is it dangerous because it's cold? In my D&D games, I am rarely going to be like, make a check to deal with the temperature. So for me, the danger would be Somniac doesn't sleep. They call him Somniac because he doesn't go south very often. He's not actually asleep for centuries, right? Somniac,
He's
like
slumbering,
flying around the North Pole eating shit. And so the thing that's dangerous about it might be there's not a lot of stuff to eat, and there's a giant white dragon that needs to eat, 20 tons of food every day. So what's there? What are we thinking? Pitch some ideas.
The easy options would be like regions. Hard to get regions that are just there.
This is
so
where the diamonds are.
The heart of a narwhal, a were-narwhal or whatever for fantasification.
A werewall.
Yeah, werewolf. You have to go there because that is where these items are found. It's not so important that a kingdom has any interest in it. They'll trade with the Yeti folk when they need stuff. But for your cheap ass, you need to go to the north. You have to get it yourself. You better start poaching.
So there's something here that is incredibly rare and incredibly dangerous to get to that is useful for an archwizard, but not useful for the kingdom. And so the archwizard isn't going to go get killed by the great polar dragon. So he's going to hire you to go get it. Or you're going to need it because you're level 14 now, and you need to cast, Oriel's Whispering Winds, and the spell component is a drop of true silver, or whatever the fuck. Okay, so let's not make it carving the heart out of a narwhal. Let's figure. Are you sure? It could be. Oh wow, it's Spencer. I'm looking at Spencer. The email Spencer just sent me about the North, and it says seal brains are the secret. That's weird. What a pick.
Pluck all the feathers off of a group of penguins, then go.
My God, Michael, what were you going to say?
I think. Yeah, Michael, go ahead.
So I just, along with that, an extra piece, just more incentives going up. Weird idea. Strike it down if you like. I'm thinking like the Aurora Borealis, and how it could tell stories of the old worlds.
That's pretty fucking sick. Star reading the Aurora Borealis is badass.
Okay.
I don't know what function would be like. It could tell like entrances to areas or stuff like that. I don't know.
The Aurora Borealis could be more tangible. You need to get a vial of the Aurora to bring back to the Archwizard, who can then use it for divination purposes. That's pretty.
That's fun.
I mean, I like both. I think that the Aurora Borealis is there, and I think that if you climb to the top of the world, you can bottle some of it. And I also think that the equivalent of like the Arctic Research Center from The Thing is here, and it's like a cadre of wizards, artificers, and diviners reading the Aurora. So my question then would be, Michael alluded to the thought that maybe the Aurora Borealis shows you the past, shows you the era, like the ages that have gone by, the other realities that have been here. My only question would just be like, what is the benefit of that? Is it discovering strange magic? Is there like a big farmer's almanac cycle? Like if you can read a couple of past eras, can you start to get a sense for like some of the patterns? What are they looking for up there?
I'm gonna do a swing for the party original, which is if this is like mid-game stuff, if your big bad is a lich from a previous iteration, going to the north to get information about a previous recycle to understand the lich's magic would be a pretty cool way to get information to the party. That's not an answer to the question of why is there a research facility.
Yeah, it does. We just make it historians. They're there because they're curious about what came before and they want to study it. And they just also happen to have this massive repository of knowledge. What you've also accidentally made canon, which I love, is that each lich is kept alive by something different. There's not a soul jar that you put that you not gobble people up in. It's like, nope. Each one has found something to keep it alive, and you need to find it out completely from scratch each time. It is something complete. It could be an artificer that's bound their soul into a box. It could be a sorcerer that, somewhere in the world is a single koi fish in which it keeps like its ancestral truths. There's one for each. I think is really fun. All right, so let me try. I have to take a lot of notes right now.
Yeah, go ahead and hit those notes.
So let me figure this out. So Borealis reading is gettable. Historians are there just sort of gazing into the past.
The far gazers.
And they risk a lot to be here. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it is cool if you go to the top, it is tangible. Like getting a vial. Like, that is just a cool mission.
Yeah, it's badass. How are you going to get up there? You know what I mean?
Make a deal with the dragon.
Oh, the idea of being like, well, we have fly, but the Yeti folk are like, do not do that. If you start flying here, you are going to get eaten. Do not do that.
That is Somniac's territory.
Yeah. So
we used to have birds. We no longer have birds.
There could be a cult of Somniac who you interact with instead of actually interacting with the Elder Dragon, where you have to get permission from them, and they will give that information to Somniac. And just like, now we're gonna fly, and we should be safe.
Something I think might be cool is if the cult of Somniac isn't like an evil cult to Tiamat style group, if they're like Greek cults, or if they're like the Imperial cult from Morrowind, if it's like, no, we as a cult are funded, like we are a religious order that is funded by the countless southern kingdoms that pay us huge amounts of money, and we keep Somniac fed so that it doesn't go looking for food. Chill. And so I love the idea that they are that the cult of Somniac aren't renowned as like grand keepers of arcane lore. They are famous hunters and rangers that go out and like lure creatures or kill creatures and bring them back to Somniac. So they're hunting like leviathans from the ocean. They're getting like dire polar bears that weigh tens of thousands of pounds and tower above the trees, and lure them north as an eternal carnival just to keep Somniac occupied at all times.
Yeah,
that'd be another awesome mission, or almost they can almost make it a game sometimes, like the great hunt, who can bring the largest. There's a reward for it.
The Great Hunt of the North is really sick.
Also, Brambles said, penguins don't fly here for a reason.
Yeah, I love it.
No
penguins.
feathers.
I want to be super clear about something. Penguins in this world absolutely have the ability to fly. None of them do. None of them do. They, as a group, have decided that it's a bad idea. They just don't.
That's so funny. Also, the idea that there were way more creatures in the north at one point, but Somniac has killed them all, like eaten them to extinction, is really cool.
Very fun.
So if the Borealis is this like powerful divination agent that you can use to gaze, can I really want it to be a thing where if you abuse it too much, you can see the Borealis in people's eyes if they abuse it.
Yeah.
So like I love the idea that there are archwizards who spend long like weeks basically in an opium den taking this Borealis stuff to gaze far into the past, and will stay there for so long trying to gain magical secrets that when they come out they have like this weird effect on their eyes, and it's just not good for your brain. Think about like you take it and you live 50 years of the past in 3 days. And so you really starts to rattle some of what you've got going on upstairs. Like your ability to keep your grasp on reality must get real tough.
And have you ever heard the term snow blindness? I think people just call them snowblind.
Oh, that's really good.
For also the Picard with the tin whistle episode.
Oh.
I don't know that reference, actually.
Of course, Picard with the tin whistle bambles. I'm so sorry. I was a Star Wars boy.
So we've got, I feel plenty of reasons to go there at this point. Great Hunt of the North. You've got the Aurora Borealis. There's the dragon itself. There's the Yeti folk that are gonna have some more information about some stuff.
Oh, and I think that I think a really fun one, Somniac gives, I think, because if he has a cult and they're dedicated and they live there, Somniac must give great gifts. And I think one of the gifts, maybe you need to win, maybe you just need to place well, is immunity to the cold, is like complete impervious.
That's cool.
To the cold, and so that's why all of these hunters are here. I like to think that most of them live in the tundra or in the boreal forest, right? Most of them live a little bit further south where they can eat and, find shelter. The ones that have won the competition in previous years and are just don't feel the cold anymore live in the polar, because to them it's everywhere else. Like you see them and they're like just out in like board shorts having a good time. They're like unaffected. So something that would be fun, a good reason for a party to come here, is if the who was our we had a big frost bad guy that I liked. If Hyperborea the Undyed is somewhere in the world and you need to go kill this great ice spider, you can go win the hunt and become immune to cold, become impervious to it, and then face, some great titan of the past or something like that.
I think that having favor of blank is a cool shorthand for like any draconic gift. So for Somniac, it's favor of Somniac, impervious to cold. And then for like the dragonfly, it could be can speak at will to animals. It could be, water breathing. That's going to be probably.
I think it would be dragonfly's main thing is that they are nature's deadliest predator. So I think it's something almost like ranger, like hunter's mark adjacent. Like when you mark prey, you know forever where they are. Like it cannot be removed from you.
I could see that. I could see you always win initiative.
Oh, that's
You're
fun.
always number one. Because you see it, it's dead. And I think that's sick.
That's really cool.
That's a cool. That's very cool.
I'm going to just jot that.
Go. Well, you're jotting. Brambles explain. He said he gets trapped for entire lifetime inside an object, and then he lives his entire life there, and then comes back to the Enterprise having mastered the tin whistle. So yes.
It's like the Reddit lamp story. You guys
Oh,
ever heard
yeah.
Nope.
that? Yeah.
There was a story on
I'm
Reddit.
not going to say it. I'm not going to do it all.
You're
It's-
not?
it's a
I'll
story
give
on
it.
Reddit. A guy, he lives his whole life. He's like 40. He's got a wife and kids. And in the living room one day, the lamp looks weird. and he's staring at it, and he's like, something's wrong with this lamp. It's not right. Days pass, and he's just focused on that lamp. And he realizes that it's like it's a video game. It's 2-dimensional instead of actually 3-dimensional. He goes up and he touches it, and he wakes up in like 20 years in the past, more than that, when he was in like high school, and he had a near-death accident, and everything he experienced was from a coma.
And supposedly
His
it's a
wife and his
real
kids
story.
all
Like, this
whatever.
is a person who like felt like they had their life ripped away, and they didn't, and supposedly like didn't even know what to do. Like, we're super depressed after.
Just
Sure.
like Picard.
And
Just
less
like
depressing. Less depressing one. Rick and Morty, when Morty was in the video game, was
yeah.
when he pulled out.
Yeah, the little life sim.
Okay.
Anyway.
So Somniac gives you permanent immunity to cold. The Great Dragonfly gives you win all initiative forever. I think these are all very fun, because to see it is to eat it, which I think is really cool. And a deep cut on Dragonfly lore, which like 3 people will read the setting book and go, hey, yeah, exactly. And one of them will be like the tin whistle, and it'll be Stefan. Okay, cool.
It'd be funny if there's 2 people with favor of the Dragonfly, and this is the first time you have to roll against them. Like, I never roll initiative. No, roll initiative.
They have the favor as well. It's really cool.
That is really fun. Okay, a lot of really cool stuff there. So we're getting to... So let's go a little bit further. So those are our sort of hyper north groups. So that makes a lot of sense. There's only a couple of them. I think there only should be. There's 2 or 3 that live in this area. They interact with each other. So you might deal with the the Yetans that control the north and keep it safe and live their lives there and hunt south. You have these. You have the cult of Somniac, and then you have this. We haven't named it yet, but we have this observatory where they just gaze up into the Aurora Borealis endlessly, divining the past and, taking down the histories that they see there. I like that. It's kind of like Theros, where the stories, the grand stories play out in the sky. I think that's really great. So now my question is, if we go a little further south, we have, we have Icetown. Icetown led to us coming up with Somniac, but I don't think it makes sense necessarily anymore for Somniac's presence to be causing that glacier to ever expand. It could. I would just now need to know, why. Like, does Somniac go to this place? Does he favor it for some reason? Was in the distant past, did Somniac have a grand champion here? And so every year Somniac comes and rests there for a time, and the glacier expands when he rests. What if he is still associated? Why does that work? And if not, what's going on? Why does this glacier ever expand? My first thought was our fucking monster that we came up with for our D100 horror that is imprisoned at the heart of a glacier and seeking ever to be freed. But it certainly doesn't, that I think would be a little... I don't know. It would be a little... Because can I tell you something that would be stupid and fun about it for me? Is for our eventual Foolhardy publishing company, for somebody to be like, wait, the same star spawn that's in the horror setting is in this. Are the solar systems of these 2 worlds both in this fucking game? Is there a multiverse and those creatures spread so far that they are in these 2 different solar systems? To me would be fun.
That's really cool.
It's also very fun for it to be like, no. In the D100 horror setting on Earth, that is an insanely dangerous and violent creature. Into Swamp World, a dragon could eat it. It's not as deep of a threat there, for sure.
We can do that. I think that's sick as hell.
You know what it reminds me of? This is the thing that annoys me the most about power scaling. The answer, for everybody at home who's ever engaged in power scaling, where it's would Goku beat Ichigo from Bleach? It's just whoever's world we're in. That's what decides it. It's whoever's world we're in. If we're in Bleach, Ichigo wins. If we're in Dragon Ball Z, Goku wins. It's not... The argument I heard was 2 people were having it out on Reddit, debating whether or not spiritual pressure from Bleach would immediately kill Goku upon arriving to fight Ichigo. And I've never had to resist the urge more to get in the comments and be like, if the comic was Bleach, Goku shows up and dies. If the comic is Dragon Ball Z, then Ki is the same thing as spiritual pressure and he lives.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that every
always that.
time. Hey, would Darth Vader be Omni-Man? If it's Star Wars, yes. If it's Invincible, no. That's it. That's all it ever is. I like the idea that it's like, why would this... So it's an eldritch monster that almost can't be killed in your other world, but in this world it's not? And I'm like, yeah. That's because it's from the D100 horror setting. It doesn't belong here.
Uh-huh. Oh, or maybe it kind of does belong here, and that's why it's beatable. Okay. Here's what I'm thinking. Yes, to our multiverse, because I think it's very funny and cool. I think that the champion idea you had for, the grand champion of Somniac is also really cool. So my idea is this thing landed on this planet some amount of time ago, a while. And Somniac had a grand champion that defeated the creature and had it locked away in a prison of ice. That's where the town got set up, and they've been chipping away at this ice, sending it downstream forever, and it constantly refills. At some point, they're going to develop too much technology, and it's probably going to break itself out because they're going to dig too deep. But right now, that's not happening. Right now, it's pretty chill. Because they're just not strong enough to break through that far.
So I guess my question would be, do the people of the town know that is why Somniac comes here and breathes on the... So I kind of like the idea that the people of the town spend, a year chipping away at the glacier and it gets smaller and smaller. Do they know that every year, because this champion fought this creature to a standstill and probably died in the effort, that Somniac returns to honor that champion and fortifies the prison so that this thing will never escape? Or was this town built 400 years later and all they know is Somniac keeps giving us ice to sell? And as far as they're concerned, it's like their blessing. They're like, we must have done something to appease the great dragon of the polar worlds. Like,
I think they don't. Michael, go ahead.
I don't think that they know about it being in prison or anything like that. I could see them knowing, like, there was a great champion, and, like, maybe they think that this is, like, to commemorate, he died at this is his grave spot. Something like that.
I think that they named the town after the champion. They know of the champion, but they don't know why this place is the way it is. Town is called Gander. The champion was named Gander because I think that's a sick-ass name. I think that part of the adventure path in this area...
It does sound like your like, very Italian grandfather tried to remember Gandalf's name.
Yes.
Gander.
Gander.
I think that part of the adventure path here would be the research outpost has gotten information from one of their delves into the Borealis, and they see the truth, which is, it's not blessing you, it's trying to keep that thing locked away, and you are getting too good at removing the ice. Pretty soon it's going to get out. You do this another couple cycles, the dragon isn't going to be able to recoup it in the year process that it normally takes. You're going to bust it out. So then it's the research town tells you that information, you have to go back to the town and tell them, hey, this is not good. They're not going to believe you. You're going to need to get more stuff, blah, 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 blah. That's the adventure path. I think that's cool.
They have, like, copper saws that melt the ice too fast. And it's like, whoa. We need to back way up. All right, that's really cool. I like that. And it's cool that we're already thinking on, like, an adventure scale. So now my question is, if the town of Gander is here, and there's this northern outpost, someone's shipping that northern outpost food, or somebody is paying a druid to go up there and grow their crops every, once a month. So is there like a government here? So we're on one continent that stretches from the polar sort of downwards. So we're looking at, kind of like a Eurasia, America, North Hemisphere analog, most likely. It could be Southern Hemisphere if we want to just flip the whole thing. I don't mind. Is there like a united government in this far north somewhere, like as we're dropping out of polar and into the tundra and a little bit into like boreal forest where you can hunt elk and things, is there, you know, the king in the north, like the Starks are here keeping things safe? Or is it like loose outposts? And if that's true, how is food getting to the research station?
I think it's loose outposts because we're not technologically advanced enough in this world to live there comfortably, so almost nobody would choose to do so. Not when there's easy access to a river that will immediately bring you to a better biome. So I think no, it wouldn't be a consolidated front. As far as like the outpost is concerned, I could see them being funded by a location further south even, and they just do pay for magic users to keep them afloat because they're performing a service that they need.
Okay,
So
I like
it's
that.
just shipping stuff up.
Another thing I like then is if I was to sort of append a title here, if this is small settlements and cultures that live in the north because they've always lived in the north and there is no effort to standardize, I kind of like the idea that the northern part of the continent is called like, you know, the land of 1,000 languages or something, because it's like there's
Yeah.
dozens of cultures there that at some point made their way up there and built, and that's where they did their Neolithic revolution, and they're all different and most of them speak a different language and none of them speak the language of the giants. Oh, and that's my other big question. If the giants once ruled this land, were there giants? Do we have like a frost giant? So number one, did we have like elemental giants like you tend to in D20 fantasy? Option one. Option two, are giants in general not immune, but like just because of their scale, does like heat and cold and everything just not bother them as much? And based on our answers, were there giants here? Right? Did that giant wasting disease that was spread as a result of, we have kind of a foggy spot there, right? The Great Hydra does something and the giants... No, wait. The giants discover something terrible and they start to zombify, and the Great Hydra cuts their capital low. But we know that those giants were everywhere on the continent, and that wasting disease is what ended, you know, their march, or with this undead march of the giants. Were they this far north?
Yes. I think that giants are just massive humanoids. They're not like the stone giant or the fire giant. I think that it was a single species that just had resistance to elements.
I just need them to be cool in some way that makes them not just look like a dude. That's all. We can figure that out later. I just need them to not be a 20-foot tall man, but we can figure that out. I don't know what that is.
They're all cyclopses.
They have their cyclops. They're all cyclopses is great. My first thought was they're all kind of like Goro from Mortal Kombat style.
Four
like,
arms, 6 arms.
They're humanoid, but then you get a good look at one and you're like, oh, it's different though. Like it's different for sure.
The giant in Game of Thrones,
yeah,
they look fucking weird as shit. Like it's a dude, but like you're not gonna drink a beer with that guy.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Humanoid.
Okay, so there were giants here. So then my question is, how did these giants that enslaved the races of the South, how did they interact? Like, why doesn't everybody speak their language? Why do we have these pockets? Is this the place that is so cold that the giants could never really get it? Like they conquered it in the Roman, like, we built a big wall. And that's what we had, man. Or did they conquer it and for some reason it was beneficial for them to let these people live independently?
I think they conquered it, and they were like liege lords over massive territory. A small number of giants were lords over a massive territory, so they were like in charge. They could request. They would like take cattle or whatever from the various locations, but they were not.
So I've got
ruling day to day.
So I've got a pitch. So the giant empire knows that. So this is where you sent shithead giants who couldn't follow orders. This is getting, reassigned to the worst post imaginable because they can't fire you, but what they can do is stick you at the far corner of a map where they don't need to think about you ever again. So
you're getting Prince of Egypt.
Yeah. So what is this thing? Like, what is this place? Where did they send them? Where is this ruin of the giants that is the equivalent of, getting sent to Siberia, of being like, we're going to sequester you off so that we never have to see your face again?
There's a word that I want to get out there for the entire territory, because it's a land of 1,000 languages. The medical term for being unable to understand language is aphasia, and I think naming the territory aphasia is really cool. So just throwing that out there, because nobody can understand what the fuck anybody else is saying.
So the land of aphasia is this like infinite place, and I love the idea that it has these figures. So I think it is all much more cohesive than I was thinking. It's not like there's the polar section and then the next section. It's like, no, it's kind of all loosely gathered together. And so, the dudes who read the Borealis are part of aphasia, alongside the Yeti folk, alongside the cult of Somniac, alongside all these others. And so then what is our, like, I don't know, for some reason I'm imagining like Weathertop from Lord of the Rings, where it's basically like there is a dead city on the top of a mountain kind of deal. Like, I'm trying to imagine this awful place that they send, that the giants would be basically banished to. Because it's not a prison. The people who get there, right, would try to make it as pleasant as possible. So where is that? What does it look like? How successful were they? Is there this, like, beautiful abandoned fortress that's built next to natural hot springs that keep the temperature relatively comfortable, that are, and you can see there's these massive like hand carved baths that they would use? Or is there like a shitty stockade fort with drafty stone walls that is miserable and is just a relic?
I think the second one, because we already have a really nice giant location. I want them to have a shitty one. I think it's built into like a valley, so they're not getting a lot of the wind. It goes over the top, like I guess a ravine, because we're in the Arctic. But that's where it's built inside of, so it's livable. It's just really not nice.
Okay, so I'm getting almost like I got what you're going for here. So you walk up to this massive chasm, and if you dip your head over, you can see these great stone, like, cyclopean manors built. I love the idea that each giant that was sent there, obviously, right, because they were sent here and not killed, are the son of a noble. They're all these people that you can't kill, but that you can get rid of by just sticking them up north and saying, your job is to conquer the Great North. I kind of like the idea that a giant expression for being told to fuck off is being told to conquer the north. Like, go conquer snow is like an insult in giantish. It's like, go conquer snow, asshole, is their way of saying, go do something useless so I don't have to look at your face. So I love that it's like beautiful palaces that are miserable and freezing and built into the side of a glacier.
Now hear me out. We've already established the giant plague that made them into shambling mounds, basically. It probably came north. Are these giants still alive in their zombified form? And that's like the Uber dungeon of this location? They're locked away down there because the citizens, knowing this happened, destroyed the staircase. So now the giants can't climb out. But they are immortal monsters.
All right. Wait a minute. I've got something. We're brewing.
All right.
Okay, so here's my pitch then. So you can see these beautiful manor houses that they built here. They were allowed to be comfortable. Who knows how they managed to do it? There used to be this like massive staircase that they built that made their way out. I think that's great. And somehow the people here managed to destroy it. The Yetis all came together and sang a great song of the storm, and it shattered under their voice or something. and it's called the Wailing Canyon, and when you get too close, you hear the cacophony of, and if you look over, there are like hundreds of giants that are just scrambling around, like constantly looking for a way out and trying to claw, like deep finger grooves and deep claw marks cover the interior of the canyon, and it's just like no one even goes near it because it's maddeningly loud. These things are all just constantly wailing up at the sky. That's pretty great.
100%. It's badass. And of course, they're gonna have a bunch of treasure and stuff.
And it is the level, level 17 mega dungeon that is like, you go to the Boreal Valley, and you're like, we must find the secret of Khazal Thun, last Archon of the previous age. And the guy like shakily looks up at you and goes, he hid it in the Wailing Canyons. And it's like, my God, we need to go down below. And you look, and you end up fighting, Kazathax, the Storm Lord, at the bottom of it, or something miserable like that.
That's so sick.
Are they smart? The wasting diseased giants, do they think and stuff, or are they straight zombies?
I think they're straight zombies.
Okay.
That's why they haven't been able to fucking climb their way out over the last 400 years.
Or else they would just make a zombie giant ladder.
Yeah.
Or zombie
Kazalfax
giant.
has a crown of knowledge, though, and that makes him smart still. But he's the only one. Stuck in a land of lepers with the only one with the ability to think is crazy.
And honestly, it would be really cool to make your way to the bottom and to see this guy who is like endlessly trying to teach the others. I spent countless ages trying to teach them how to think again and how to breathe. And maybe I think the worst part would be there is a little, like, it's slow, but there are a couple that when he says stay, like, stop. And maybe a few that will like pick up a weapon that he's directed, at least they don't use it right, like they're swinging with the flat of a sword, but he's gotten them to pick it up, and so you're like,
yeah,
oh no, like this isn't a problem
and
now.
You can't let them out because again they are plague infested.
Yeah,
even with the growth of knowledge, it's like they'll just kill everything.
I think it's a thing where I was thinking of it more as like we're in a terrible situation in 1,000 years, like it's only been 400. And he's made some progress. Like, these things are starting to get sharp. How they're not going to be, doing their ABCs anytime soon. But they might be able to nail pythons into a wall, in the not too distant future. So I think that is pretty cool. All right. So let me also write that down. Slowly teaching Cursed King. You know what's really funny about this? It's fun to have that mix of sympathetic but horrific. To be like, there's something very sympathetic, right, about this king that will not abandon his people. But it would be like finding like a Nazi officer who's really dedicated to his troops. You'd be like, I don't care that you're dedicated.
I gotta kill you anyway.
It'd be like, oh, but he really cares about them. And it'd be like, yeah, he's a Nazi. Who cares about other Nazis? I don't give a shit. We're gonna dump whatever the fantasy equivalent of napalm is down there. We're not doing this. I don't care about this. I think is really pretty funny. All right, cool.
Nicole told me to tell you, not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
I was gonna say, question, Spencer, what you got there?
Now let me say something.
Burger King
hit us up. Burger King hit us up. We'll do it. I'll hawk anything, man. I'm good. Not crypto. I'll hawk anything other than you need to get a product for it, and I'm in. There you go. Don't try to sell. What was that thing that like they got a bunch of influencers to sell? The orb that like scanned your eyes and gave you some crypto for like making a permanent mark of your eyes. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
No.
Look it up when we're off. It was like a sphere, and you scanned your eyeball, and they gave you some crypto, and it made like a permanent file for you that you couldn't delete. And the way that you made more money was by getting your friends to scan their eyes into your orb. It's crazy. It's
fun.
super weird. This is a real. It's by the. I think it's Sam Altman. I think it's the Chat GPT guy.
Not surprising.
They're always into
Tech
some
overlord.
shenanigans over there. I don't know why. Okay. Wow, really good stuff. So we've got 18 minutes left on the clock. But we've got a pretty good rundown of the Great North here. Like, this is pretty strong stuff. Here's my only question I have left. What was it about the North that made it so that the giants stayed in their canyon? Like, it's cold, and we know that's bad, but we also know the giants are very resistant to temperature, and that's how they basically conquered the world, right? Our version of common, I think, just is giant. And I like the idea that maybe this is something that I would enjoy that nobody else would. I kind of like the idea that in this world, common is useful, but is also seen as a little bit of a faux pas. Like, the polite thing to do is to speak the language of wherever you are. But people default to common, which is just giantish. They just speak giant to each other because everybody knows it, everybody learns it, because it is a language that was spread all across the world. So, like, why didn't they conquer the thousand nations of the North? Why does Aphasia not speak the giant tongue? Why didn't they discover the Boreal to the north, unlock the secrets of eternity, and take over the multiverse and sail Spelljammer style into the sky? Which would, of course, be my first thought. If Kazalithax makes his way out of the canyon, that was his great... He thought that he could bring his people in the north to the stars, and that's what he wanted to do, or whatever the hell. Why didn't they? My first thought, is it like the Germanic tribes of England? Was it, oh no, it's so scary? Like, are the groups that are here aggressive and isolated, but coordinated enough that, like, there are horrifying ambushes in the trees? There are stories about, if you read some of the accounts of, like, Romans that went north, it's like, the trees whisper to us all the hours of the night. There is great bellowing in the sky. We think that they have, great serpents that serve them, and they are attacked at all hours by, what would have been, the Gauls or whatever. Or was it some other, is it Somniac? Is it some other, is there a supernatural force that does not allow them to do it? Like, what is it about this place?
I think it's one, and those people have so much information because they kept sending their dumbest... God sent his dumbest soldiers to go do this job, so the tribes got real hands-on experience on killing the worst giants in the world. So then when the good ones started showing up for Arthuriacs or whatever, they just knew how to kill giants really good.
So we have like
the tribes just were really good at it.
So option one is straight up, Jack the Giant Killer is here, and like they are very well prepared. That's fun. I kind of like
so many. You'd have to conquer like 400 tribes to rule the North.
And I like the idea that there's like a fighting style that fighters can learn in this world that is just all about fighting larger opponents.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That just comes from the North. It's like, it's a martial art that was taught and learned and developed in the North, and they still study it because the Wailing Canyon is still there. They still fear every day that one day those creatures will make their way out and they will need to do what they once did again. Is pretty cool. You sounded like you had an or a but. You sounded like you had a second idea rattling around in the cage when you started. Do you remember it?
No. I like that one anyways.
My only other idea is more funny one. Dragon's favorite food is giants. It goes nuts.
That
It
is really
smells
funny.
It smells giant.
I think that's probably why they never made it to the polar regions. I think if they got too close, Somniac was like, big food. Like, Somniac was totally down with that. Okay, so we have a sort of... So, like... All right, so martial tradition, giant slayers. Oh. And you know why all of the tribes of the North have this like deep-seated martial tradition? Because of the great hunt of the North to keep Somniac at bay. That each year,
they're so good at it.
And that would have them hunting giant prey. So they would constantly be sending their greatest warriors to the North to participate in the great hunt, and they would be used to fighting these giant creatures. The giants arrive like, we'll crush these small folk, and find tribes of people who have spent hundreds of years hunting massive creatures to keep Somniac at rest, and have just never stopped becoming better at that with time.
That's so funny. A perfect storytelling.
Okay. Sent north for hunt. Wow. And when you started, you were like, guys, do you think we'll be able to come up with anything for the north? I'm nervous. All right. We have 13 minutes left. The next thing we would do is get into making like 7 small like subculture groups that are off in the mountains. I think with 12 minutes left, we should do 2 bits, wrap it up. And then I guess my next question is, we've been to the north, we've been to the mountains, we've been to the swamp. What's left? Like Alexander, I weep. I do not know what worlds we have left to conquer. Is it to space? Are we talking about aliens?
The ocean, I think, is the next big one that we have to hit. Give me 30 seconds, because I got an impossible whopper, and I don't think that's right.
That can't be correct. All right, hit that up. All right, so next time we are bound for the ocean.
Yeah, I could see the ocean, or I could see the jungle or the forest.
I'll write the ocean and I'll write the forest. Because I am interested in what, the equivalent of like the Adirondacks or the Catskills is like for this world. Like, what does the great dragon of the forest even look like? I'm imagining, right, if the swamp is massive and disproportional because of the great dragon of the swamp, and if the polar caps in this world are massive because of the great dragon of the north, right, if everywhere there is a great dragon, there is the greatest version of its climate, what does the great dragon of the ocean have around, and what does the great dragon of the forest have? Is there this infinite stretching forest that is like deeply hostile to outsiders? Or is it the opposite? Is this where like the elves in our setting are from? Are these people that like live amongst the trees because you've got no choice? You cut a tree down and it's supposed to be like, well, 30 years from now, if we cut on a cycle, that tree will be back. And it's like, no. You cut that tree down and a year and a half later, there is a full-grown pine tree there that is 10 feet tall. If you build a house, not for long, you're going to have some shit growing through your floor here in a minute.
It's 100% tree houses.
Now, Spencer, you have made me curious. What is everybody's opinion on the Impossible meat products? Did you get a bite into an Impossible Whopper, or did you just detect?
At first, I smelled it, and I went, that doesn't smell right. And then I took 2 bites back to back because I'm so hungry. And then I was like, that's not a Whopper. It's good. It does not taste like a Burger King Whopper.
You know what I do think is funny is that you did get to get like a little sneaky extra 2 bites of food, because I did see that your burger is still wrapped. So Spencer got 2 free chomps of somebody else's burger. Not bad.
Yeah, that was Nicole's Impossible Whopper. Impossible Burger, very good. I would even say pretty burger-esque, not Whopper-esque.
That's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't like fake meats. I respect what they're going for and everything. I don't like the taste. Like I've had like Impossible sausage and stuff like that, and I don't like it. It's just not for me.
I can't rock with the protein loss. Like you're like, oh, it's an Impossible Whopper. That sounds healthy, and it's like more fat and more carbs than a normal Whopper for a third the protein, and you're like,
yeah,
I don't know, guys. It's also like another $1 more. I've got questions. All right.
It's not for me.
We've got time for some bits. Let's take the time. Let's do some bits. And next time we will go to either the ocean or the forest, and we'll see what happens there. What's our bit? Pop culture
So-
character creator? They say, you say, I say? Some third thing I haven't thought of yet?
Pop culture character creators always a winner, so we'll do that first,
Okay.
and then we'll do they say, you say, I say.
Well,
What
you
we
set
need
up.
to do now is make a couple of non-D&D ones, because now, I mean, we're talking about Call of Cthulhu on this stream. We're talking about our own D100 horror system on this stream.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about to make everybody who will listen start talking about Draw Steel on this stream. I'm just saying, we're going to have to start branching out, people. We got to be careful. All right. So
Yeah.
who's rolling?
Well, I say Spencer roll. Spencer hasn't got to roll for a while. And well, you're not. I have an idea. Just so I don't forget, I just want it written down somewhere for the forest dragon. I think it'd be cool if it was an owl dragon. Make it really fantasy.
I just love that a huge selling point for us, if we get this thing down and get it up and ready to rock, is that we can just be like, we're making fantasy as it will go. We took that dial, we turned it to 11, and we snapped it off at the handle and threw it in the garbage can.
And
It's
we made
like,
an owl dragon.
this dragon's a dragonfly. This dragon's just a normal dragon. This dragon's an owl. They're all the same. Why are they the same?
They're all
Shut
dragons.
up. I didn't say you could talk
Dragons.
to me. Also, my first thought is like, I'm immediately like, so were the dragons here before? If the world
Yes.
is remade, like,
Or-
do the dragons consent to the world being remade? Do they also get a thrill from getting to see a new reality forged? That would be very fun to me. Do the dragons, like, shepherd the god through its many iterations? Are they, like, keepers? Are they kind of like, I'm thinking about, like, the overgods in D&D, these things that basically, like, manage reality? Just options. All right, Spencer, talk to me about that ding dang thing.
Boys, we got
get
Homer
dragon
Simpson.
time.
We got Homer Simpson.
We have Homer Simpson.
So
Yeah.
I'm ready. I will give you
I've
two
got
time.
mine.
I will give you two time.
I was just thinking, if we were doing reality dragon, we get a dragon of time, we get a dragon of space. Yes.
So true. I mean,
Also-
I've had enough time. So if we want to do you, me, and then Michael,
I also
So
love the
likewise,
idea
bit of
that
time.
all dragons in the setting are like minimum CR28. It's like CR25. Like it's
Mhm.
like no. CR25 is the floor. You're probably never gonna kill one, and if you do, I'm imagining they have like Phoenix style, an egg. Like they die, and an egg is where they were immediately, so that a new one can hatch.
That's cool.
Killing the polar dragon, everyone loses the favor of the. You would be public
Oh.
enemy number one.
So many people
Resets
freeze to
the
death
favor, that's cool.
instantly.
All right, I'm gonna start. Homer Simpson is a multi-class. He has 9 levels of barbarian. He has 1 level of artificer because he do work at a nuclear power plant for real.
Yeah,
So
he
he is,
does.
he's an artificer barbarian. He has an intelligence of 6, but he does.
Yeah.
But he did take that
He
dip
did it.
for the
He
proficiencies
did
in a
it.
couple of spells. He took the dip, but he's mostly a barbarian. He can like give his sword a +1 enchantment, and then go Hulk mode and
that's
swing it
it.
around, and that's what he's got going on.
I also went barbarian. I did ancestral guardian barbarian
Okay.
because his dad is still alive and also whoops ass, and I think that that's fun. And beyond that, the connection between the family is so important in The Simpsons that I couldn't go without like an ancestral guardian type beat.
I thought you were gonna say that he was Ancestral Guardians, and it's the "Do It for Her" poster of Maggie Simpson. And so
Also true.
anytime he begins, an image of like buff baby Simpson appears.
Yeah,
pretty
that's so
powerful.
true. That's a great point. Michael, what you got?
I got Way with Drunken Master Monk.
Oh damn!
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he loves his beer, and man, does that man grapple?
Guys,
Usually
He
his
loves
son, but
whooping the shit out of Bart.
yeah, he does.
I forgot that child abuse is like a huge central
Yeah,
joke in
it's so
this.
big in that.
Mm.
Guys, we're
That's
getting too good at
We're
pop
quick.
culture
We're
character
quick.
creator. It's getting unnatural, to be perfectly frank. Like we've got to be careful. We simply must. We
We-
simply must.
We did get the home run of Homer Simpson too, though.
That's true. The home
That's a
run.
home run? I don't know if it is.
I feel like it.
He has so many bits.
He does.
Everybody get your D20 out. We're gonna do rollies to see who wins. They say, you say, I say.
All right, I apologize for the sonic impression that our audience is about to get. The only dice I have within arm's reach are metal. I'm gonna put a notebook down and just
okay,
hope for the
Guys,
best.
you guys are cooked right now.
Don't
I
you
got a
worry.
19.
Every time I roll is with metal. So 13.
We have a mouse pad now, so it's not so.
17.
Ooh, I said
So
13.
13. So
Mhm.
Michael, you got to come up with the actual path here.
All right.
Me and Ethan have to come up with a monster and
Spencer,
a
do you want
location.
monster or do you want location?
I will do location, but I want to go second.
Okay.
So I'll have you go first with monster, if you've got one in mind.
All right. I'm just trying to think of a good. I'm gonna go classic. I'm gonna go absolutely classic. I'm gonna hit you with an illithid. I'm gonna hit you with a mind flayer, a
Okay.
tentacle-faced psionic creature that
Okay.
eats brains and makes copies of itself.
My location is a tavern in an abandoned town.
Interesting. Okay, so an illithid and a tavern in an abandoned town.
All right.
Michael, take a moment to think.
Yeah.
Now, what I like about go ahead and take a few seconds. What I like about this challenge, specifically with Michael going last, is Michael has not ever run a game.
Ever.
Nope.
This isn't something he's typically used to. So this is fun. Out of all the times we've done this, Michael, have you gone like once for this?
I've done it
Say I Say?
once, but it was like early into
Yeah,
it
it was
all.
2 years ago. It's been a while.
Uh,
The luck was on your side until today.
yeah.
Okay. if
You
you're-
guys rolled high.
A 19
Um,
is unbeatable. Almost.
There's an
19,
ability in Draw Steel that I want to tell Spencer about, so you can have a little bit more time to think while I pull
Cool.
it up really quick, because it's absolutely fascinating. For those of you who don't know, MCDM's Matthew Colville's company's new RPG just came out, and I've been following it for a very long time. I am about to force these poor fools to play it with me. So their version of the monk is called the Null, and the Null is all about like discipline and breaking other people's concentration and abilities and things, which I think is pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. They have, let me find it. Okay. The characters only go to 10th level. The 9th level metakinetic null ability Realitas. You strike a creature. If the conditions are correct, they become dazed. While dazed this way, the target takes psychic damage equal to twice your intuition score at the start of each turn. If the ability causes a creature who is not a leader or solo creature to become winded, they are instead reduced to 0 stamina. Any creature reduced to 0 stamina by this ability. So if you just manage to kill the boss with this and it gets them down to 0 stamina, is forgotten by all creatures of your level or lower in the timescape who are not present for the encounter. They are erased from all existence if the null kills them with Realitas. It's unbelievable.
That's almost exactly like what the Miller in our home game would. I think that's what his ability would be. he would always defeat somebody, show up, and we'd have no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah.
I did love that.
So Realitas is an ability that makes me want to play a null
So cool.
tomorrow for 2 years that I can get to level 9. Although it's only 9 levels, so maybe 1 year. One of the draws of the game in theory. Michael, you ready?
Sure.
Fantastic.
All right. So your party has been tasked by the we'll go with the queen. The queen
Yeah.
of this small kingdom to find out what has gone wrong with the it's not neighboring, but a village that is under their
thrall.
their thrall. They haven't paid their taxes, their dues, in quite a long time. There hasn't been any travel, any shipments, nothing from this this village. And you were tasked with finding out why. Upon arrival, you come to this this village. It is barren, not a single sound, until you come to the middle of town, where you hear glasses and chinks and music from the local tavern. You walk in to a very just a particularly lively area, a lively scene. It seems like probably half of the town is in the tavern, and you're met with the barkeep with a wicked smile. So welcome, welcome, gentlemen and ladies, to the Illithid's cave. We haven't had a new member in quite a long time. As he takes off his change appearance into
Illithid bar.
It is the entire town has been turned into Illithids. Almost like a angler fish. The bar is a very easy location to trap people in.
Oh, so it's like so you walk in and quickly are surrounded by a small group of Illithids that attack you and stuff. Ooh. All right, everybody, that was your sneak preview of The Party Makes Things Worse Season 6, Michael's season.
Yes.
Very cool, very fun. All right. Well, with that, thank you all so much for watching. This was a ton of fun. I'm going to give a special shout out. Go check out episode 5, right? Episode 5 of The Party Makes Things Worse, The Prince of Charming Lazarus, which Spencer burned the midnight oil to get done on schedule. He has been working tirelessly, working himself to the bone to get those episodes edited and made into fantastical soundscapes for you to enjoy. It makes it into a nice bottle experience. It's our lore exposition episode, and I was playing the Seeker, so you get to listen to me absolutely yap up a storm for that episode, hunting down clues and talking to people about what they know. With that, thank you all so much for watching. Stick around to learn about what else it is that we've got going on, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.